All right, so I want to just say a little bit more before we talk about bonding, right? Um, about the way that electrons surround in 3 dimensions surround the nucleus. I'm going to save some of this for class, but I should just point this out, right? That we said that electrons, and again, this is not anything that we didn't say already, right? That electrons are arranged in 3 dimensions around the nucleus, right, where the positively charged protons are. And in reality, right, even though those 2-dimensional Lewis dot structures are a good representation, that's not reality. What reality is that they're in 3-dimensional orbitals. And again, I'll have more to say in class because I think this is a somewhat tricky concept to visualize, right? But all orbitals aren't always spherical, like I may have led you to believe, right? Some orbitals are spherical. I don't know where that came from. That is, they're in 3 dimensions, right? Spheres. Some are like 3-dimensional hourglasses or dumbbells. And that when you actually look at any particular atom, the orbitals give a really complicated 3-dimensional picture, right? So here is an example of an atom that has multiple 3-dimensional orbitals. So again, the nucleus would be right in here. But you can see that the orbitals that surround it aren't just spherical, right? That they come in multiple shapes and give a pretty complicated 3-dimensional structure to this atom, right? But again, there's more to say there. We'll come back to that in class. So we should move on now, right? So we've basically given the structure of an atom, right? It's got protons and it's got neutrons and it's got electrons and it's neutrally charged. We know what weighs and what doesn't weigh. And I'll make this point again, right? We said that atoms that are stable have full valence shells. Or valence layers, right? That if they can hold 8 electrons in their valence layer, they have all 8. Those that have space in their valence layer can chemically combine with other atoms. And when they do that, we build molecules, right? So a molecule is multiple atoms, 2 or more, that combine with each other with the goal of filling the valence layer. And there are multiple ways, right? Multiple types of bonding that occur, multiple ways that these atoms can fill their valence layers. So let's talk about covalent bonding first. Think of this as a sharing of electrons between 2 or more atoms. Electrons are shared. And when they're shared, each atom within the molecule gets to count the electron that's shared. Let me show you what I mean here. We'll look at the simplest example, and then we'll do one that's a little bit more complicated. The simplest example is H2, hydrogen gas. right? 2 atoms of hydrogen. Hydrogen, by the way, is unique. It doesn't have any neutrons. It's the only type of atom with no neutrons. It's got 1 proton, it's got 1 electron. And when it comes together, right, it forms this, H2, hydrogen gas. And so if we draw the simplest Lewis dot structure, right, 1 proton in the nucleus with 1 electron in the very first valence layer. And we have to draw a second nucleus. I don't know why that's so small. All right, there's my proton in the nucleus and a valence layer here with, again, 1 electron. So each one of these atoms has space in its valence layer, right? The first valence layer can hold up to 2 electrons. And so these are shared. And so if we look at this particular atom, it gets to count the electron that it brought, and, right, here's the electron it brought, and the electron that it's sharing. So we say that this thing, right, this one here, has 2 electrons. It's satisfied. Its valence layer is full. And the same is true here, right? This hydrogen atom gets to count the electron that it came with and the one that it's sharing, okay? And so hydrogen gas, H2, is very stable because its valence layers are occupied, right? Full valence layers, 2 electrons in the valence layer. Hydrogen on its own is not. H, right, with 1 proton is very, very reactive until it fulfills its valence layer. Let's look at one more example, or maybe 2. Let's see here. Bear with me while I erase. Let's look at water, right? Water is H2O. 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 of oxygen, okay? So I can tell you, and I would never ask you to memorize this, I can tell you that oxygen has 8 protons. And you would know that that means that it also has 8 electrons. Hydrogen, as we just saw, has 1 proton and 1 electron. And we're going to have to count for 2 of those, okay? So let's draw oxygen first. Oxygen with its 8 protons, right? And when I say draw it, I'm talking about drawing the Lewis dot structure. 2 electrons ride together in the first layer, first shell. That means we still have 6 to deal with, right? We've dealt with 2 of the 8, so we need to add on another shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's your atom of oxygen. Note that it does not have a full valence shell. It's pretty reactive, okay? Now let's draw our hydrogens, right? Hydrogen's easy to draw. 1 proton, 1 electron. 1 proton, 1 electron. What's going to happen, right, to form water, H2O, is that if you notice, right, the oxygen right here still needs 2 electrons. Needs 2 electrons. Well, look, here's one to share. Here's one to share, right? So now, again, we're counting the valence layer. You can count the 6 electrons that oxygen has in its valence layer, and we can count the 2 that it's sharing with hydrogen. Then if you look at each hydrogen now, right, the electron that it brought and one of the electrons that it's sharing with oxygen. Same thing here, right? The electron that it brought and one of the electrons that it's sharing with oxygen. And this is how you get H2O, right? Water with 2 covalent bonds here. It's the case that some atoms can form up to 4 covalent bonds, right? Carbon is able to form 4 covalent bonds. Why is this? Because if you think about carbon and its 6 protons, it has 6 electrons. Well, what does 6 electrons look like if we draw the Lewis dot structure? First 2 are in the very first shell. 1, 2, 3, 4 more, right, for a total of 6. So this means that it's got 4 different bonds it can form potentially, right? Because it needs to be stable 4 electrons to fill the valence layer, to fill the valence shell. And so you can see over here, right, they've drawn methane CH4. So in this case, right, with this particular molecule, there's a hydrogen here, there's a hydrogen here, one here, and one here. I'm going to draw it offset because I wrote some text in here, but you get the idea. And so now there are 4 covalent bonds that form. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Count up the electrons in the valence layer, right? Carbon has 1, 2, 3, 4 that it brought, and it's sharing 1, sharing 2, sharing 3, and sharing 4. And so now carbon has 8 electrons in its valence layer, and every single hydrogen, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. Every single hydrogen has 2 valence electrons, so it's satisfied. This gives us CH4, right? That's methane. Okay? So covalent bonding is when atoms are sharing electrons with the goal of fulfilling its valence layer, right? And if you're sharing an electron and you're an atom, you get to count it, whether you're the one that brought it or the one that's borrowing. Again, what do I mean by that? I mean, look here, right? Here's the electron that carbon brought, and it gets to count the one that it's sharing with hydrogen. This is covalent bonding. It's a very tight sort of bonding, right? It's a very stable bond, right? It doesn't fall apart easily, so it's a strong bond. We'll look at bonds that are a little bit less strong. And it fills valence shells. Really a common type of bond that's formed.